You have to stop playing it safe. You have to get out of that. Once you get out of playing it safe and get out of the normal what every other agent is doing, you're gonna scale. You're gonna elevate and scale. Got to get creative too. So my biggest thing is I think agents need to stop asking for permission, and they just need to start going for it.
Welcome back to the Better Agent Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Lavik, and we're talking about real estate and how you can get better in your real estate business every single day, because that's what I'm all about, and that's what this podcast is all about. So I hope you're tuned in and excited to learn. I've always got wonderful guests and lots of great experiences and to share with our listeners about how to be a better agent and grow a better business and just improve every single day. So to me, it's about growth, and that's what this podcast is all about. So hopefully you get some value out of our call today. So I'm excited to bring on our guest today, which was also from Wisconsin, right? Another fellow Wisconsinite, right? So I'm excited to share that story, but not necessarily in my market. I'm in the Madison area. This person, Stephanie Kaiser, is with us today, and she's with a smaller brokerage with a few other ladies on her at her company, but over in the Kenosha, Racine, Lake Geneva area. And been in the business 6 years, but I'm excited to see where this conversation leads us. And hopefully you can get some good value out of it. So Stephanie, if you wouldn't mind maybe just sharing a little bit more about your background and, maybe some of whatever else you think our listeners might find valuable to know about you and why you're here and maybe what you can share.
Yeah, awesome. Nice. I'm happy to be here. Thank you again for inviting me. I'm excited. So I'm Stephanie Kaiser. As said, I've been in the business for 6 years, but starting from day one, I hit the ground running. I don't like, I like being powerful. I like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go big. So I'm out of southeastern Wisconsin, right on the Illinois border. I do a lot of lakefront, rural properties. I love first time home buyers are fun. What I love to do is to control the outcome. I want to make sure that I am fighting for every client. Client relationship is the biggest thing to me. Buyers and sellers don't just want to deal, they definitely want to win, and they want to be informed. Any uninformed client is not a very happy client, makes a nervous client, and the deal go crazy. Results driven, very, very bold personality. So just
So hold on, let's just stop right there, right? So doing things big. I love what you shared right there. If you're going to do it, you're going big. Like, what does that mean? What does going big mean, right? Like when you got into this business 6 years ago, you got in, you
mhm.
had a psychology background is what I understand, right? And you never
Yep.
really thought maybe you'd be in sales, and yet here you are, right? You're probably like a lot of
Never.
us, right? I had a biology undergrad degree. Guess what? I never thought I was going to be selling real estate, and I've been doing it 20 years. Okay. So biology can lead to real estate. Psychology can lead to real estate. What is going big? What does that mean to you? So you went from what to what?
I went from being a stay-at-home mom forever. I've got 3 girls. Therefore, chaos coordinator is my specialty, actually. Let me just back up. Chaos is my specialty. I have 3 girls. We have all the drama. But I was a stay-at-home mom, went back to work. I worked for a little warehouse company that wore every hat. I was office manager, HR, all the things. And I'm like, this is terrible. This is absolutely terrible. Real estate came out of nowhere. I'm like, you know what? I love people. I love building relationships. Never sold a thing in my life, never been in sales. So let's just give it a shot. And that's kind of where I went is I'm not a salesy real estate agent. I'm not selling you
But
the
how did
house.
that
I'm
come
helping you
out?
win.
So how did you decide real estate versus the warehouse? I mean, those are way different paths, right?
Uh, because I wasn't, well, first of all, the 9 to 5 just doesn't work for me. Like I have three
Okay.
girls, that doesn't work. But also, I love having a conversation. I love going to battle. I love being strong. I love the competition. And I chose real estate because how many relationships do you create and make? And you meet so many people and everywhere. And then it's not just relationships. You're helping them do one of the biggest things that they've ever done in their life. They get excited. There's so much emotion. Emotional is hey, but yeah, so it's just making a big difference in people's lives. That's where real estate went. I'm good with people. I love talking. I love hanging out with people. Let's try it. and it worked out perfect. I love it.
Okay. All right. So what do you think early on, right? When you first got into this, right? You weren't sure if you even wanted to do real estate and you don't like being salesy, which I think, I think a lot of us can resonate with. I know at least for myself personally, it's like when I first got started in the business, I wasn't even sure if I wanted to do real estate. Like I was kind of very much hedging my bets, like, I don't know if this is the right career for me. I don't know if I'm going to do it or not. And like, for me, I had a similar kind of aha moment after about a year and a half in the business where I had been not really achieving that much success my first year in the business. And like, I felt like I was doing all the things, right? Like I would go to the office and I would try to answer the phone and put together my marketing or do whatever I was doing, but I wasn't doing enough of, I don't think, the right things. But then I remember after about a year and a half, I kind of had a similar mindset shift of saying, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, let's go a little bit bigger, right? How do we go bigger? How do we do this at a high level? How do we help people more? And I think once I approached the business, at least from that perspective, for me, it really definitely took off. It took off, almost immediately. It wasn't, I don't think I achieved financial success immediately, but I had more client opportunities and more of my engagements, definitely took off from the moment I kind of made that mindset shift. I mean, I don't know. What about for you? What early on when after a year or two, or at what point do you think it worked for you to say, okay, I'm not doing psychology. I'm not working in a warehouse. I'm not doing whatever I was doing. I'm not a stay-at-home mom anymore. I'm going to do this and I'm going to go big. I'm going to make this happen and it's going to work, right? Like at that point, what was it for you early on, do you think, when you hit that moment, or what were the milestones that were like, okay, this is going to work?
Honestly,
Yeah.
it's almost immediate for me. I love to learn. Love to learn. I'm not afraid to ask questions. I've had great mentors. I love a team too, right? Independent, cool. You get to do your thing, but I love a team just simply because there's there's everyone to learn from, and there's always room to grow. If you're the smartest person in the room, I feel like you're in the wrong room unless you're with a client that you're teaching. Like that's just how it is. So I immediately took on like, hey, this is what do I need to do to engage? What is the best practice? And I took it and I ran and I went hard. My first year in business, I think I closed 30 deals my first year.
30 deals
That's
in year
not
one.
bad at
That
year one.
30 deals in year one is amazing. That's incredible. I didn't do 30 deals my
I
first year. Absolutely not. It took me several years till I got to that level. But I think that's incredible that, you touched on three things that I think are imperative that I think were similar in my growth story too. And that was getting to a point where you just want to learn, you're a sponge. And I remember early on in my career too, like to learn that concept of just wanting to learn as much as you could. I took every single real estate designation course I possibly could. Why? Not necessarily because I needed the letters next to my name, but because I wanted to learn how to do this business at a better level. And I could learn from other people and other coaches and teachers and mentors. And then also having the team, right? Having a team behind you that you're comfortable with, that is going to support you and help you be successful, I think is also super imperative, right? I know I teamed up early on. My mom was a realtor, right? Or she still is actually. And that's how I got into the business, right? I teamed up with her, right? So finding a good team, a good mentor, a good coach, whoever that might be, right, can make your environment that much more of a catalyst for your success. And I think that's super awesome. So sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off,
Yeah.
but go ahead.
No, you're good. No, that's perfect. And foundation, I think, is key too. You need to learn what the foundation of the business is first in order to continue to learn. Like you need to not be afraid to get on the phone and talk to people. You need to make sure that you role play and practice, of course. Like, those are things that you need to be comfortable having an actual conversation, not calling someone, sounding awkward. If you don't sound confident, they're not going to believe you. They're not going to fall into it and they're going to walk away. They're not going to follow up. You need to be confident for them to believe in you and trust you. And, some of the people that I started when I first started real estate, we all have to play nice in the sandbox, right? We all have the same goal at the end of the day. We have to play nice in the sandbox, but it doesn't mean that I still talk to the same people that I, would be in a group with when I first started real estate. But I learned some amazing things from my first couple brokers. And that is you have to be strict and you have to be structured. You have to do that. If you're not structured, if you don't plan it out, if it's not written down, it doesn't happen. And I am not I'm
Like
not
in
that old.
terms of
I feel old.
contracts or something else? What exactly are you talking about?
No, like
Strict and
your
structured.
schedule. Like I
Oh,
am one of those that you have to have a routine. You need to have a
okay.
routine and a basis. You need to block your time. You need to, and again, like you said, you did every designation course, and I don't get all of those just because I feel like, yeah, I've done a few, but mine is, yes, I'm always learning. I'm doing the RPR trainings, and I'm just trying to learn
Totally.
different strategies and how can I help my clients the best. And I don't like looking stupid or feeling stupid. So like if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it right. Period.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Being structured and strict with your schedule, I think is super important too, right? Like, and for me, I mean, for years I've been doing this where, I'm pretty structured, especially in the mornings. Like I'm pretty much in the office in the mornings, get my morning right. I think if I do that and I do kind of my lead follow up or lead gen time, I tend to do that mostly in the mornings. I mean, I can do it in the afternoons, but I find I'm better in the mornings, and then I try to do my appointments in the
Hmm.
afternoons. So, whatever appointments I may have, whether it's showings or listings or whatever, I try to do those mostly in the afternoons. But, for me, being structured at least 70-80% of the time with that type of schedule, I think is super important as well. So what about for you? What's your schedule? What's an ideal schedule look like for you?
Like you said, I like to do my calls in the morning, check your emails a few times a day. If you are concentrating on emails constantly, I mean, unless you have important deals that are, you have strict timelines. But besides that, don't just concentrate and focus on, if you're making your calls, make your calls. If then you space out time for your paperwork, your office work, and your deals, time to follow up with your clients, and then appointments in the afternoon for me as well. We work when most people are off of work. We do weekends, we do evenings. That's just our job, that's our life. But also, I think, I also am the type of person that I'll wait. If I have to shift a little bit, I'll be a little bit flexible, but it's always on my calendar. My calendar, you'll see different colors, different blocks of time, or it doesn't happen in my life. I just won't. I'll be everywhere. So I just think that it's very important to block that time out so you can actually see it. If it's written down, it's in front of your face. I love doing a vision board. I love doing, write down my deals. What are my goals for the month? If it's in front of your face and you look at it, you're not even close. That's, to me, it just drives me to do work harder, go harder, work more. And what do I need to do to get these deals closed? Because this is what I wanted. And if I'm not either there or past it, then I'm letting myself down. So
I love
visual in front of you.
Yeah, no, I love what you shared too. And I think one thing that stood out to me out of all that, right, is like it's easy to emails come in at all the time, and it's like sometimes you can just get buried in emails and like, oh, that's all I do is check
Or social
emails. And
media.
or social media. Yeah, it was a total black hole. Oh my gosh. What I think I was telling you, we were talking about before this, right? How sometimes I think I disabled most of the notifications on my phone on purpose. So like I can try to keep some of that focus and try to keep some of that. But I think besides that, right? I love that you said having written goals, right? Like so many people, I think maybe just have their goals in their head, or, they have an idea of what their goals are, but maybe don't always write it down. And I know I've had written goals for years, and when I look back at all the goals I've had over the years, it amazes me how many that I wrote down that actually came true. It's like there's
Well,
something
if you
about
could, or
the
even your why. Like
yeah,
put your why as your background on your phone. What's your why? I got a picture of three of my girls. This is my why. What do I want to do? My vision board. What kind of car do I want? I have to go to Disney every year for the dance summit. That is not cheap for a family of five to go to Disney and all of the all-star things. So it's like I want to build my dream home, my forever home. So I've got, you need visuals, not just written down on a piece of paper.
yeah.
Look at that, because when you look at it every day and then you realize, like, as you start to achieve those goals and you can check them off, that is the most satisfying feeling ever.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I remember years ago. So our family is big into boating, right? We've always had a boat for years, but I wanted to have a wakeboard boat, right? Like I like to ski and surf and all that kind of stuff. And like I put one of the boats I wanted on the vision board, and like I couldn't believe it. Like years later, wasn't even that many years, but like years later, now we have a boat like that. It's like unbelievable. It's like, you're going to go to Disney, you're going to go on this trip, you're going to do this thing. Right. And like, it is the why. It is the reason, right? Why do we want to give up our nights, our weekends, and work hard and go the extra mile and do all these things, right? It's like, at the end of the day, it's got to fund your family and your dreams and your goals and what you want to try to achieve. And I think, it can be different for everybody, but I think in some ways, they can be material things, but they don't always need to be, right? Like they could be experiences, right? Like you talked about going to Disney or going on a trip or something. And I just, our family, we took a trip recently, and it was like it was like a bucket list trip. It was like something we've been thinking about and dreaming about and wanting to do. And, having those things in a visual manner and a visual more, written down, how can you think about it and achieve it? That's hopefully going to motivate you to make that extra call, go on that extra appointment, do that extra thing. So,
As
I
well
love
as
that.
your goal for the month. Like, all right, how many buyers do I need to have? How many deals do I need to have to make my goal, and have it actually written out on the wall, on a whiteboard, or whatever you may do. Like, I need to contact I need to have these many sellers, I want this many listings. And then otherwise it's like, all right, I've got 2 deals this month. Why do I have nobody in my pipeline? Look at what are you supposed to do? What do you need to do to get more into your pipeline? Who do you need to talk to? Who do you need to be around? What needs to happen and what needs to change?
Yeah. So wait, you said something, you're still calling people and making conversations, right? We're not just relying on
I
social media to bring you business and like sending emails. Like you're doing more than just that. You're actually calling people.
I am that crazy person that will go and knock on a farmer's door because most people in my area want a unicorn on a piece of property, right? They all
They want
want
what?
land. They want a unicorn property that doesn't
Oh, okay.
exist. They want acreage in Bristol, or, Western Kenosha County, or Walworth. These things don't exist. Farmers have all the land still. I will knock on that farmer's door. What is it going to take? How much for you to give me a portion of this land, section of this property? If, I can't find a house for my buyers that, I really want to be in this area, it's important for my kids, I will knock on your door. I have a buyer. I won't send a postcard, because I get postcards from realtors. My husband does, actually, not me. And I laugh. That doesn't do anything. I am going to go face to face and talk to you like, hey, what does it need? Even the next door, right? There's a next door platform where you talk
Yeah.
to all your neighbors and stuff. I'll get on there. Hey, I have buyers or sellers, and we need to move, we need to, whatever it may be. And it actually works out great. I haven't paid for leads in forever. It's been
Yeah.
organic because I'm not afraid to get out there.
So that's a huge aha for people, I think, because we're all, I don't know about you, but like I feel like I'm being bombarded in my email and everywhere about AI, and this is going to do everything and replace all of that, and just send these emails and post this on social media and do all these things. But at the end of the day, where's the conversion happen? The conversion happens on that face-to-face appointment, knocking on their door, making that phone call, making that connection, that authentic connection, right? It's not just, for you to make a phone call, but it's like actually hearing them and where they're at. I remember talking to an agent on my team recently about this, and how, they were struggling a bit with making phone calls and follow-up calls to people. And part of their struggle was, I think it was a little too robotic, right? Like they were too scripted, almost like trying to
Yes.
just be, yeah, I'm just calling to follow up. Saw you were on our website looking at properties, blah, blah, blah. How can I help you? Versus,
And you get hung up
hey,
on.
hey,
Or
my name is
in
Josh. Or, hey, my name is Stephanie. What's your name? What's going on? How can I help you? What? And just coming from that point of, how can you authentically, truly, genuinely want to connect with this person? And man, as soon as she just shifted her script and that mindset just subtly, it wasn't even dramatic, it was subtle. And I think as soon as that happened, she immediately saw a conversion. And I've
I
experienced that conversion too.
I feel like a lot of people struggle with, like, your calls and stuff, because they are trying to follow a script. So it
Yep.
sounds very scripted, and it sounds, it's not genuine, because they know what you're reading. Every agent is saying the same thing when they're reading off of a script. And you just need to make that connection, make them feel heard. People love to talk about themselves. So why not just have a conversation like we are? Like, hey, what's going on? And, how's it going? Oh, you live there? Wow. I went to the same place or, but I'm also out in the community a lot too. So that's also how I get to know a lot of people and communicate. So I am part of the family selection committee for Habitat for Humanity of Kenosha and Racine.
Okay.
Um, I at family selection, meaning I actually go and interview these families at their homes, and I get to pick families that get houses built for them. So I personally get to go and select who is getting a home built, and we go to ground. Like I have a groundbreaking ceremony today, this afternoon when we're done with this, and just getting in that. But it's all relationship based. You have to stop playing it safe. You have to get out of that. Once you get out of playing it safe and get out of the normal what every other agent is doing, you're gonna scale. You're gonna elevate and scale.
Totally. Yeah. That was something that I learned early on too, was just getting out there and getting involved in different community groups and chamber of commerce. And I got involved early on in a lot, and I would go to almost every networking thing I could possibly think of, not necessarily because I love networking, but I just made a commitment to this business and going to that next level of trying to connect with as many people as possible. And how could I do that? I did that by going to various chamber events and different networking events and things like that, as a way to connect with people, right? Versus just maybe relying on the phone or just doing whatever things. And part of it's getting out of the office, right? Like if you're just hoping you can hide in the office or behind your computer and people are just going to naturally come to you, I think that's a lot harder to do,
No.
right? Like you need to get out there and talk to people and knock on doors and meet people and wherever it is, whatever it is that
Right.
excites you. And even today, like I have an event coming up in the next week or two through our one of the local mountain biking associations, right? Like I'm a big mountain biker. Like those are my people. I want to go connect with mountain bikers, right? Like, cause I'm a mountain biker, right? Great. Guess what? They still need to buy and sell homes too. So find something that you're passionate about, that you're excited about, whether it's Habitat for Humanity or mountain biking or whatever. It doesn't really matter what it is. I think there's lots of opportunities for growth and connection with lots of different groups out there. So just go find something you're passionate and excited about.
On that note, you got to get creative too. So my biggest thing is I think agents need to stop asking for permission, and they just need to start going for it. Most agents are reactive. They wait for things to come to them, like making calls. Get creative. You don't necessarily even have to do your networking. I have thought out of the box in so many ways. I I got in touch with Kenosha County and I adopted a highway. So one of the main county highways by my house, I own 3 miles. So there are 3 signs with my name on it on one of the biggest county highways. Stephanie Kaiser, my 9-year-old she tells everyone, look it's my mom's road. And I'm like, but it also creates events too, right? Like now I have to go and my responsibility is twice a year. I've got to make sure that 3 miles is cleaned up. So now it's a community event. Hey, let's get together. Let's do that. At the high school, thank God I got a great photographer when I got my branding photos because I am ginormous on their new jumbotron, like football, their scoreboard. It's a huge jumbotron, but my 17-year-old hates it. She's like, mother, because I am huge. I've got an ad. I've got a 7-second commercial. I'm on the fence line around the football field, the baseball fields, the tennis fields. It's wild. You got to think out of the box. So the more people see your face and they recognize you, they're going to trust you. They're going to come to you. They're going to think of you first. And that's the point.
No, I love that. I love that because it's also something you're naturally drawn to. I think I love that. That's what I love most about that is like you're going to be probably at some of those sporting events anyway, right? Like with your kids or with whoever. And like, to me, it's like if you can find whatever niche you're already kind of naturally drawn to, like lean into that and go sponsor those things, advertise in those things and those things that you're already kind of naturally drawn to. I think it's a great recipe for success because it feels easy, right? Like it feels almost natural to like just show up there. Yeah, this is my, I'm here with my daughters and I'm
They
here.
see you everywhere. They're like, I recognize you from somewhere. I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe I recognize my face. I don't know. Also, people love money, right? Everybody loves to win and they love money. So this
Mhm.
little guy right here,
Yeah.
I would hide at local businesses. So on social media, I would go to a local business, bar, restaurant, something somewhere local in my community. I take a picture, put it on social media. Whoever finds this first takes a picture with it. You tag me, you tag my team, you let me know. Guess what? You're going to win cash money. I've given out $100 a pop just for finding that little sold sign with my business cards. And then my business cards stay at that establishment. Now that
Yeah.
establishment thinks of me and we create a group, and it's just, that's how we all connect. And so just, who doesn't like to win? And especially if they're winning cash.
Absolutely. I mean, people love to win. I think that's for sure. So, I think this has all been very positive, but let's shift gears a little bit because I think certainly in the last 6 years, you've probably had, I would imagine, some downturns and maybe some challenges along the way, maybe a few deals that you thought were going to work out didn't work out, or what might it be? I mean, what were, when you think back, what were maybe some real challenging or pivotal moments in your career that maybe you were gonna, I mean, I don't know, I've thought about quitting or giving up several times, right? Like I have several things go bad at a time and it's like, oh man, can I really do this? But sometimes I think you learn how to pick yourself up after a challenging either a challenging client or a deal that didn't come together or whatever it might be. It doesn't matter. I think that I've had lots of them over the years. And
Oh,
so anyway, I'm curious to hear, if there's something that comes to mind for you that maybe was a pivotal moment, that was maybe a downturn in your career experience, and like, what did you do and how did you learn from that and what happened next?
there's a few that stick out. One of the hardest things for me in the beginning was navigating the emotional chaos, as I call it.
Okay.
This is a very emotional process for everybody, including myself. And it's a very high stressful process. And I've been fired, I've been gone off on, I've been told I'm terrible, like it's all my fault when I specifically told you, hey, this is what's going to happen. This is not in your best interest. At the end of the day, it's your decision. Then when it goes wrong, they blame you, right? I don't take being I don't take feeling like I have failed people very well. Like that is a very hard thing for me to handle. So that was hard. But I think one of the biggest things that almost made me walk away at one point was the way that agents are being, like new agents, when they come in, they're not being set up for success. I feel like they're being set up for failure because nobody is training anyone correctly. They want automated everything. I literally learned by contract, line by line, with a highlighter, a printed out contract, highlighter, going line by line, filling things out. These agents now, I feel like they don't, big brokerages especially, they want it so automated that you need to be out there doing money making activities. What is a money making activity? You need to be at appointments. Don't waste your time on writing contracts. I have a digital, a virtual assistant that can write these contracts for you. Well, now what? Now this agent has no idea how to write a contract to save their life, and now they're set up for failure. It's
Mhm.
that. It's the where did all of the drive and the setting people up for success? I just don't. I don't know that the emotional being blamed for things that go wrong, that was really hard for me at first. And then I
Mhm.
learned to get over that. I had to get over my emotional. You can't be emotional during these deals, because if you are, it's just gonna go up in flames.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I think that's interesting. It's, for me, it's bringing up, I remember early on reading a book. I forget who the author was, but the title of it was Mastery. And the concept of it was, finding whatever your business or occupation is, right? It's not just it's kind of like the Bruce Lee concept, right? Like, I fear not the guy that knows how to do a kick, but that can knock it down. But it's like the guy that's done it 1,000 times, right? Look out for him because he's going to get you, right? Like, if you don't know your contract inside and out, right? Like, that's really table stakes, right? Like, if you're a full on master realtor, real estate agent, like you should know the contracts inside and out. And
It's
it's one thing.
beyond that though. Sorry to
No,
interrupt you, but it's beyond
no,
that.
that's okay. I think
It's
you're, yeah.
it's how to you need to know strategies, and you need to be prepared for what's next, because yes, it's the contract, but what happens when your client ends up putting themselves in a position where they're losing their earnest money, or they're going to get sued? What are you doing already to make sure that doesn't happen? What's your next step? What is your go-to? You need to know how to problem solve before that problem is there. Anticipate that problem. And also, you can't always make it known that yes, you're the professional. Make sure they know they can trust you. But if this person is so hell-bent on being the smartest person in the room, you can't make them feel you can't shame them. You can't make them feel stupid, because that's just going to piss them off, and that's going to explode. So excuse my language, but like, you can't make anyone feel stupid. Yes, you're driving the bus, but they have to have their come to Jesus moment. Like, you have to get them there with them thinking they made that decision and they came up with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, right, we are agents in this transaction, right? We're not principals, right? It's not our name on the buyer agreement or the, listing, right? It's them, they're the client, and they're making the decisions, right? So I think it's important, though. I think what you said too is like to learn to practice and anticipate what may be coming next, right? So if you don't know what's happening next, guess what? That's a problem. You better find somebody in your office, find a mentor, a partner, somebody, and you better practice just the dialogue and the conversation and the flow. And like, people only buy and sell every 7, 10, 12, 15 years, right? If they're only doing it that infrequently, they don't know the process as well as you should. If this is your chosen profession, right? This is your career path. You should know what the process is, and you should be able to anticipate what that is. So yeah, it's beyond just knowing the contract inside and out, but like, before I know, I leverage some of my contract stuff and assistant things to other people on my team, but I didn't always do that, right? Like, especially early on in my career, like I needed
Right.
to know how to do that myself before I could leverage it off to somebody else. And now I'm reviewing it, but I think that's part of what your growth plan
Right.
should be.
That, and my biggest thing is, I tell my clients, if you are sitting there stressing, mad because you're waiting for my phone call, you don't know what's happening. If you don't know what's coming before it happens, I'm not doing my job. My job is to inform you, make sure that you have no questions and you know exactly what's going on during this transaction, to inform you, to make you feel comfortable, to, don't leave any unknowns. And if you do, please call me and I will explain, and I will explain over and over. It's funny, I just had an ankle reconstruction surgery, so I was out for actually 2 days after surgery. I had my husband drive me to a showing with my hot pink cast and not being able to walk. But hey, I I ended up passing that client off to another agent, a good friend of mine. And when they submitted a deal, she was like going over through the process. Okay, here's what I need to know about the contract. He's like, yep. And he just sent her a list of all the things that are on the, like, line by line almost on the contract. Wow. I guess Stephanie made sure that he's like, oh yeah, we know. This is the earnest money. This is the date, the contingency for this. I want to make sure I educate you and you don't have questions. There is no unknown, because that's when people get very, very anxious and upset.
Yeah, well, and that's when you get phone calls. So I know one of the things I've started doing years ago was, anytime a client calls you, it's probably too late, right? Like, you probably should be ahead of that. And there should be something in your process that it anticipates what question is likely to come up, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's not every single transaction, there's going to be a settlement statement that comes, right? What's your conversation? What's your dialogue? What's your email of like, hey, this is going to come. This is what's happening, right? Like, how does that go, right? 9 times out of 10, they're going to do an inspection. What's going to happen? How's that going to go from the buyer side or the seller side, right? So part of it is just preempting that ahead of time. You should be able to know ahead of time, if you can, or at least being very knowledgeable about it throughout that process. So I love that, but very cool.
Yep.
What else? So yeah, I mean, it's an emotional process. What else? I know you had submitted some questions before our show today, and you're talking about Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll just leave this up to you. I don't know what we've talked a lot of different things, some great success stories. I think, we've resonated really well and talked about some challenges. I mean, I don't know. Is there something coming up for you if you wanted to share with our listeners that you think might be really valuable for them to know about how you do business now or how you see things changing in the future that you think would be really helpful for them to know to improve their business? So if somebody were looking to grow their business from where they're at, say 20 or 30 deals going to 35 or 40 or whatever that might be, I don't know, whatever it is for where they're looking to go, what would you say to that person?
I would just say you have to grind. You have to grind. You have to be committed. And sometimes it gets really tough. Sometimes it gets really tough because you have sacrifices. People have families, they have kids. We miss out on a lot of that, right? Like you know, like I was saying before, routine is also good, but also you have to avoid burnout. Burnout is a real thing, and once you get burnout, you're done, and it kills a lot of careers. And I think motivation, structure, boundaries, create boundaries. You have to have boundaries. Don't make your clients think that it's okay. Don't make it okay for them to call you at 11 p.m. midnight because they have some kind of question. There are boundaries, and make them clear. Just connect. That's huge. And if you want to grow, learning is always a good thing. Like you said, doing classes, network with your, other, get to know all the businesses in your area, start making connections so that you know the people to go to. If you have questions, you always have resources, and don't be afraid to lean on those that know more. And like I said before, if you're the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I got lots to learn and different rooms to be in. That's for sure. I know.
You never want to be the smartest person in there unless you're in your client's house. Then you
Yeah.
should be the smartest
Yeah.
person. But you're in the wrong room if you're the smartest one, because there's always something new to learn, and that's how you grow. That's my
Yeah.
mindset.
Well, that's one of the things I love about this business personally is there is always something to learn and there's always something changing and every client's different, every
Always.
property's unique and every market's a little bit different. And so, there's always something to learn, but also something to shoot for and grow. And, I think it is important too, to set boundaries. I agree 100%. Like I'm not answering my phone at 11 o'clock at night, no deal. Right. No, great. So if I'm just not doing it. Like, and I think part of that, at least for me, is like setting that up with your clients from the get go. Like if you just let them know, hey, just so you know, I'm not available after 6 o'clock or 6:30 or whatever, because I'm having dinner with my family and like, that's it, like it's all in the setup really. And I think if you set your clients up ahead of time, they don't expect a phone call back at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. I mean, I've even had times where occasionally I've answered my phone later at night and they
Yes.
apologize to me. They're like, oh my God, I was hoping to get your
I'm so
voicemail
sorry.
so I could leave you a message. I don't expect you to answer, like people expect you to have a real life and that's okay.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to be honest. Like there are
Yeah.
so many I know so many agents that they're terrified to upset their clients, and so they will just go with what their clients want to hear.
Mhm.
That is setting your client up for failure, and they're not going to win. They're
Mhm.
not going to have their best interest is your top priority. Don't be afraid to be honest and upset them, because they will appreciate that way more in the end. Like I can't tell you how many times I have won out, and know your value, right? Know your value. If you're going on a listing appointment and you're against four other agents, maybe they're interviewing other people, that going in. Know your value, but if you have a higher commission than everyone else, be prepared to show them your value. Why are you worth more? Know you're worth more. Don't have that confidence, and you'll win every time. You'll grow, you'll scale. Look for more. Always stay hungry.
I love that. Finding that confidence, I think that's important for sure. I think when you're
Hmm.
new in this business, at least I know for me, I lacked a ton of self-confidence and that was probably why you sold 30 deals your first year and I didn't, right? Like I lacked a ton of self-confidence. I wasn't even sure if I wanted to even be a realtor, and like, but I think once I got to that point where I had studied the contract, I'd gone to the classes, I had already known, my confidence grew after learning and diving and just committing
Real
to
life
mastery.
experiences.
Real life experiences, exactly.
Falling on your face.
You have to just go for it and do that. And then that builds your confidence. So whatever you can do early in your career or even along the way, like I think whatever you can do to build your confidence in those items, to just go in there. And sometimes you don't always have all the answers. I mean, I go into
Never.
opportunities today all the time. Like, I don't know how this is going to go exactly. I mean, I think it could go this way or that way, but here's what I've done to prepare, and we're just going to make the best of it. And sometimes that's all you got to do is just go for it, knock on the door, go ask the person, go do the thing, and like get out of your comfort zone. You got to try
Not
to get.
everyone is gonna knock on doors. Not everyone is as bold as me. Like I said, my girls get so embarrassed and upset with me because they're like, "Mom, just stop." And I'm like, "Why? Let's go." Like I'm not afraid. I have a very bold, strong personality, which gets me in trouble sometimes too. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but also as you start to learn and grow, you get more ideas of what you're interested in. Like we were talking before we started that I realized that yes, I love real estate and I want to stay in the real estate world, but I want to grow it into more of a interior design, like setting up Airbnbs, decorating and just Airbnbs, new construction, their model homes, and getting that also in that business. I don't know exactly what it looks like yet. I don't know the structure, but then you have someone on a monthly invoice, right? So now you have a constant income instead of waiting for that next check. And
Mhm.
also that's another thing about being afraid to upset your client is because you're so worried if you upset them and they walk away, you're not getting paid. That is a big chunk of
Mhm.
money. How are you going to feed your family? Being honest and upfront, as long as they know, I think you have a better chance of getting that money and feeding your family at the end of the day.
Well, I think what you said is super important about if you're only tied to that one transaction and that client goes away or they fall apart or whatever happens, if that is your whole world, that can emotionally just wreck you in some ways, right? Like you need to have enough opportunities and be bold enough, like you said, right? Like you need to be bold enough to put yourself out there, to have enough people that you're talking to and enough opportunities that, you know what, if this one falls through, I got 3 more over here, and like this is going to happen here, and I'm going to keep talking to this person over there. And I'm just like, you have to love learning and going for it and having, just that opportunity. And there's always room to grow. I mean, I think it's super
Yeah.
important for
Make sure
sure.
that nothing is dropped. And if you've got
Yeah.
enough people in your pipeline, and you get bigger, you need to delegate. You need to hire help. You need to make sure that you are concentrating on your clients, checking in, yes, but have help. Otherwise, things will get forgotten, lost, whatever it may be.
Yeah, have help, have a team in place, partner up with somebody, make
Hmm.
sure you have a good mentor, be structured with your schedule, right? Don't be afraid to make phone calls, right? We're still, even though AI is everywhere and like, you can get on social media and email people, but like at the end of the day, it's about conversion and how do you talk to people. And right, if all you're doing is checking your emails all the time, like you're not moving your business forward, right? Have written goals, do a vision board, go out there, knock on the door, heck, get on Nextdoor. People want to feel heard and connected with, and like whatever ways you can do that and build that connection with people, I think is a huge way, right? There's lots of ways to get involved. Adopt a highway, go to advertising your local sporting goods.
It's free.
I mean, it's
It's
free.
free.
Yeah. I mean, what a way to just stay involved in your community, like for free, like easy way to do it. Find something you're passionate about, whether it's mountain biking or your local sports, something or whatever it might be. There's so many different ways to do this. There's tons of emotional chaos in this business. But at the end of the day, you got to really grind and find the opportunity, right? You got to build it. And it can be a grind, but like, if you get up and keep
It
moving
gets tough.
forward and keep stepping forward, like you're going to connect, you're going to grow, and you're going to build your business for sure.
Yep, for
Dang.
sure.
Absolutely. I love where this conversation led us here, Stephanie. What
I
anything
love it.
else I missed, or anything else that stood out to you, or anything else you want to share with our audience today before we sign off?
No, I mean, I think honestly, if you have the passion, you love it, don't stop. Don't let those down times keep you from going. There's so many agents now that'll drop out because you do miss a lot. Like I said, I have two teenagers and a 9-year-old. I miss out on a lot and it can be down, but if you keep going, it's worth it in the end. Just to see them smile, to be able to let them do their sports and everything. And then just the success that you feel, that is amazing. Watching your
Totally.
success grow is amazing.
Well, it's amazing. And I think actually it's a pivotal opportunity right now because, even just nationwide, the number of sales are down, right? Like this is not just in, this is, if you look at the overall national sales, right, since COVID, right, like interest rates are up, sales are down, right? Like, so overall, you know, it's a challenging time and a challenging market for a lot of realtors. So I know if you are struggling out there and you're not hitting your goals or your numbers or metrics, right? Like at the end of the day, it's an internal job and it's an internal business, but keep going and keep grinding and keep going there, because there's lots of agents, like you said, I think that are going to fall out, that are going to say, you know what, this is too hard for me. It's not for me. I can't do it. And as soon as that happens, guess what? That's going to open up opportunities for the agents that are committed, that are bold enough to go get the business, and they're going to go get it, and they're going to win for sure.
Don't focus on today, focus on next tomorrow, next week, next month, because if this month is terrible for you, if you're not building that pipeline for next month, it's going to be the same. Don't give up. Don't give up.
Don't give up. There you go. Build your pipeline for the month, go make those goals and make it happen. I love that. Very cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming on our show, and thank you for sharing more of your story. And yeah, I got a lot out of our conversation, and I'm sure our listeners did as well. So thank you so much, Stephanie, for coming on our show.
Thank you.
And that's our episode for today at the Better Agent Podcast. If you enjoyed this, tune in next time as we dive deeper on tips, tricks, and everything else about becoming a better agent and building a better business, because that's what I'm all about, and that's what this podcast is all about. So thanks again for listening and tuning in, and that's our show for today. Thanks for tuning in to the Better Agent Podcast. I hope you found today's insights valuable. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review if you enjoyed the show. Stay tuned for more tips, Q&A sessions, and sneak peeks into our 21-day challenge. To get full access of our show notes and more details on the 21-day challenge, go to abetterrealestateexperience.com. Keep striving for greatness, and I'll see you on the next episode.